Yeah, this is Drive Worldwide, where we take a look at some of the big talking points from across the world of football. Joining us now is our European football expert, Kevin Hatchard joins. Hi, Kevin Hatchard.
How are we, chaps? You well?
I'll tell you what, I've missed that.
Well, very well.
I've missed that.
How are you?
I'm good. I wondered which club I'd stumbled into there, playing that music, but all good.
What sort of club did you wish you'd stumbled into?
Well, who knows? I'll leave that to your imagination.
Firstly, happy Christmas.
Yes.
What are
Looking
you
forward to it very much.
What
Same to you.
are you hoping to get from Father Christmas this year, Kev?
Oh, it's a good question, actually.
Star
maybe
Wars?
some more obscure. Yeah, definitely some
Star
Star
Wars
Wars stuff.
Okay.
There's always some Star Wars stuff.
There's always stuff to get. Right, let's get your view now. We're going to start off talking about this man. Ryan's not even listening. Look at Ryan. Why are you chatting away to the producer? You don't even know where we're up to, do you, Ryan?
Into the bottom left-hand corner with pace and precision. He scores against Manchester United, the club who were desperate to sign him, but he went to Bayern Munich and he scored a goal that will help break Manchester United hearts.
Sorry, is it all against Man United, these goals? Yes, we're talking about Harry Kane. Are you surprised, Kevin Hatchard, how quickly he's adapted to life in Germany? He scored 20 goals with 5 assists in 14 matches.
I think it's a matter of degrees. I thought he was going to be a success. I thought he was going to score lots of goals. I don't think I expected 20 in the first 14 match days. And I think he feels like a Bayern player already. I think if you listen to the way he speaks, he was being interviewed after the Stuttgart game when he scored twice in a 3-0 win. He'd only gone 3 games without a goal, and he was making out as if it had been an eternity in which he hadn't scored. So he's got that hunger. He's got that desire to score goals. He plays it down, but he wants to break Lewandowski's record. That's clear. And he's on track to do that. He's a goal ahead of where Lewandowski was after 14 games of his record-breaking season when he scored 41 goals in one Bundesliga campaign. It's only a 34-game season, so it takes some doing, but he's on track to do it.
Kev, when Lewandowski was putting up these type of numbers, a lot of people were saying that Lewandowski is the best centre-forward in the world. Now, Kane's putting up these ridiculous numbers as well, and no one's saying he's the best in the world. Why is that?
Yeah, I think it's a curious one. I do think there have been people who've been, willing to overlook him for quite some time. I don't know. He's not that glamorous. Mind you, Lewandowski isn't really. They're both quite serious players, look after themselves, very consistent. I think Lewandowski had that issue as well, that even when he was banging in goals left, right and centre, there were a set of people who felt that because they weren't Messi, because they weren't Ronaldo, they couldn't be an elite player. But I think he scored 30 goals in the Premier League for a pretty poor Tottenham team last season. And he's gone on and scored bucket loads of goals for a Bayern team that he's not quite hitting top gear, I would say. I mean, it's weird. They've scored over 60 goals in all competitions. They won their Champions League group, but they went out of the cup without him, actually, to third-tier opposition when they lost at Saarbrücken. And, in the league, they're not top. They're behind Bayer Leverkusen, who've been absolutely sensational. So he's papering over a few cracks, but with that attack around him, I can't see why he's going to slow down.
Are they going as nuts for him over there as we did last season for Haaland?
Absolutely. Yeah, Kane mania, no doubt about it. I mean, Bayern are reporting that they're selling shirts of his at a faster rate than they ever have before. Wow. It looks as though he's going to break the record for jersey sales in one season. He's in the media constantly. There's kind of interest in how he does. I think there's real pride. It's still in the fact they were able to bring the England captain to the Bundesliga. That's seen as a really big deal. And any player who's a big name for Bayern, you're going to get those column inches. You're going to get those splashes in the big websites. So I think what's impressive is how he's handled that and how he's embraced it. I think he's really enjoying the fact that he's seen as a big star. He's enjoying the fact that he's a real leader at Bayern already, even though he's only been in the door a few months. And I think the most interesting thing, actually, Thomas Tuchel, as we know, can be abrasive, can be demanding, can be really, really intense. He couldn't have been nicer about Kane from the get-go. I mean, he's almost in awe of him, the way he speaks about him as a professional. So far, everything has gone incredibly well.
Do you know what? It almost feels like when you look at Thomas Tuchel that when he got a Kane, he won the lottery. Like, you leave Lewandowski and you bring in that animal in Kane. When you look at him and the way he looks at Kane, I think you can quite clearly see that Thomas Tuchel's like, wow, like, look what I've got here.
Yeah, I think it's two things. I think the first thing is it's a goal guarantee in the way that Lewandowski used to be. And, then even if you're struggling, you've got a guy who can get you out of jail with a goal. I think the other thing is he's a standard setter. I think Tuchel sees him as somebody younger players can look at, other players in the squad can look at. And I actually think if you look at Leroy Sané, I think he's playing as well as he's ever played. And I think a big reason for that is Kane's arrival. They're working really well as a duo on the pitch. And I think they look at Kane's standards and it does rub off on the other players, no doubt.
What did you call Leroy who?
Leroy Sané. That's what he says.
I'm using that.
None of this Sané business.
Leroy
He was never a Sané.
Did you Leroy Sané?
Yes.
I'm using that. Leroy
He's
Sané.
German.
Does he know Antoine Griezmann by any chance?
Yes. It's Griezmann, not Griezmann.
Sané. Okay. I hope I pronounced this correctly. Over to Spain now, where surprise package Girona sit top of La Liga after 17 games this season. I'm sure it's with an H. Currently 2 points clear of Real Madrid, 9 points clear of Barcelona, 10 points clear of Atletico, and they've lost only one game all season. Is this, to put it into terms, is this how we felt when Leicester were top of the Premier League a few years back?
Pretty much. Yeah, I'd say so. I think with them, what's interesting is they're part of the City football group. So I think a lot of people have jumped to conclusions and thought that because they're linked with City, they must have tons of money. They must have access to the best young players in the world. No, neither of those things. They haven't spent a huge amount of money at all. They actually lost some key players in the summer. Tati Castellanos went to Lazio. They lost Oriol Romeu to Barcelona. So you wondered how they were going to do. The coach, Michel's, done a brilliant job. They play attacking football. I watched their game against Alaves on Monday night. And the work rate is incredible. It really is. They always want to attack. And some of the players they've brought in have really hit the ground running. Artyom Dovbyk, who's a Ukrainian striker, is a genuine goal threat at that level. Got a couple of goals last night in that game against Alaves. Sihankov has done really well. Jan Koto is a really good wide threat from fullback. And everybody's playing really, really well. Now, we don't know if they're going to be able to maintain it. They were beaten handily at home by Real Madrid earlier in the season. But if you thought that was an indication of their level, they absolutely smashed that perception the other week because they went to Camp Nou and they wiped the floor with Barcelona and beat them, pretty handily.
Amazing.
So I don't think it will last. I hope it does, but I don't think it will. But it's great while it does last.
You've been great while you last, whatever that means. Kev, if we don't speak to you before, happy Christmas. Thank you for coming on.
Same to you.
And hopefully we'll speak to you before the new year. But if we don't, happy New Year as well. But I appreciate your time.
May Santa bring all the Star Wars gifts you require.
Beautiful.
Indeed they will. Excuse me. Yes, indeed. Kev, we'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.